So how do they impact us? Well, okay, what does it mean? Serotonin is related to depression and anxiety. In the year 2000, Duke University did a little study where they looked at Zoloft. You've heard of Zoloft, right? It's an antidepressant, very popular among people, and it's used a lot. And they looked at a standard dose of Zoloft and 30 minutes of vigorous exercise. And guess what they discovered? Equally effective at addressing symptoms of depression. Equally effective. Okay? But guess what? They also discovered that 30 minutes of exercise over the long term was much more effective at controlling the symptoms of depression. Why? Because you produce a lot of serotonin when you exercise. It's very natural, holistic, right? Very natural process. Dopamine. It's related to satisfaction. Feeling satisfied actually helps you pay attention. It's a really important thing in our system. Ritalin, for example, raises levels of dopamine, or mimics raising levels of dopamine inside the body, and Ritalin is what's given to people that have attention deficit disorder often. Guess what? You produce tons of dopamine when you exercise. It's a balancing hormone. It actually helps you relax. This is a neurochemical process, you know. It makes you feel better. That's why you guys have noticed, right, when you're exercising regularly, and I hope you're starting to see that, is overall we just start feeling better. And this is a real thing that's going on. It's not a placebo. This is a real, much more powerful than any pharmacological intervention. It's very powerful. And then norepinephrine, it's related to attention, perception, motivation, and arousal. Same thing. You exercise, you release tons of it. And I was saying, you know, some of these antidepressants they're selling, if you listen carefully now when you're watching TV, because most of us tune that stuff out now, you'll hear that this drug works because it affects all three of these neurochemicals levels. Wouldn't you rather go out for a jog or a walk or a bike ride than taking a pill? I would, all day long. In fact, the book that I'm going to recommend is there's this physician. His name's John Ratey. He's a psychiatrist at Harvard Medical School, professor of psychiatry, and he wrote the first book on treating ADHD with diet, nutrition, and exercise instead of pharmacologically, right? And so he wrote that first book. He wrote a book called Spark. I recommend it. Get it. It's fun. It's a fun read. It talks about how all this stuff affects you as a human being. It affects kids, adults, everybody. And he has a lot of anecdotal, really fun stuff that you can read, and you'll enjoy it. Guaranteed. Short read. Most people that have told me they've bought it, they've read it like in 2 nights because it's so interesting. Okay, and what he said, I'm sorry? Spark. S-P-A-R-K. Now, be careful. There are a couple of books out there, Spark People, if you've ever seen that online and so forth. It's just Spark. John Ratey, MD. You can see it right there. And basically what he's saying is vigorous physical activity is like taking a little bit of Prozac and a little bit of Ritalin in a natural, holistic way. And it allows the synergy, right, natural balance with no artificial side effects. That's the best part. There are no side effects, negative side effects, to the physical activity and all the things that are going on. Your body knows what to do with all that stuff. Just like the real food, that synergy of the apple versus one, you know, a pill that's supposed to mimic it. Same thing. Your body knows what to do. It's very effective. So, last year, another profound thing. The director, Dr. Ronald Peterson, the director of the Alzheimer's Research Center at the Mayo Clinic, right? The Mayo Clinic, one of the best hospitals in the country. They do a ton of research. He said, what's the best thing you can do to help prevent Alzheimer's? Number one thing, exercise daily. Better than any drug that they've produced, better than any even nutritional components, although nutrition is very important. Remember the leg, 3 legs, chair, can't kick one out. So there is synergy there. But it's very important. In fact, there are a lot of studies that have, you know, supported that. For instance, the one in there, and again, I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time there. The University of Kansas School of Medicine did a study, and they looked at people who actually had Alzheimer's, and they noticed, guess what? The ones that started exercising or exercised regularly had much less decline. Does that make sense after everything you've seen? That those chemicals start flushing the system and helping the brain heal, get plumper, and be healthier overall. Right? So, brain on exercise. We all know this guy, right? This is literally, so you can take all the stuff I've been talking about, put a little picture in your head. I learn better with pictures, right? What's your brain like on exercise? Well, you start building new neurons. So the integrity, right? Big, fat, plump brain is what you want. You want to be a fat head, right? That's what happens. You start exercising and your brain gets not only more cells, but they get bigger. They get fatter. And that's critical in the process of having a healthy, long-term cognitive support. They also get faster. So those neural pathways I was talking about, they work better. You actually think clearer. You can recall information better. And there are all kinds of other byproducts that are part of that process. And you can see right here, this is my little example, left brain, right brain. Your brain just works better. It's wired better. It's like having a really nice highway system inside your head. Instead of, sometimes we have some problems with our streets here in Albuquerque, but imagine a very nice, integrated highway system that lets you get here, get there, you can get to the supermarket, you can get to work, easily park, pick up stuff, get the kids at school. It's the same difference. Your brain just functions better. Everything travels around much better, right? And it affects us in a lot of ways. Again, more studies showing. Now we're hearing it. Here's the cool part. None of these guys are working together. All these researchers are doing this stuff independent of one another, and obviously they read each other's stuff, but they're coming to the same conclusion across the board. This is valid. This is really what's going on here. Okay? Discovered, guess what? 2008 UCLA, good nutrition, good exercise prevents Alzheimer's. Ooh, right? Makes sense, doesn't it? It's kind of logical. 2005, LA County Schools, and we actually, in our previous evolution, the company we were with, Jess, who's with us here, and all of us, we worked with the LA County Schools in helping them track some of this stuff, but they discovered that, guess what? Kids who were physically fit and active scored higher on standardized test scores. What's important about this research is that they looked at 1 million data points, and they've been doing it every year since 2005, repeating it. Doesn't matter socioeconomics either. LA County, you've got very wealthy, you've got very poor. Across the board, it affected all kids who were physically fit, scored much higher on their standardized test score, especially girls. Very powerful. Same time, Virginia Tech, we were talking about more time in the classroom does not help you learn. They discovered sitting in front of a teacher lecturing all the time is not going to help you learn better. All right? Doesn't that make sense? Loads of research, loads of stuff. And my last little bit, we talked about the chemistry and so forth. There's this guy, Dr. Charles Hillman at the University of Illinois, Urbana, and he looks at it from a different angle. In fact, he was just quoted on ABC News a week ago. It was fun to see his name pop up because we've been looking at this stuff for years. And he's been looking at this stuff for years. And he uses that little hairnet that I talked about, the electroencephalograph, and he looks at the speed or latency, meaning how slow or fast that your brain fires. And he discovered, guess what? People who exercise right before they take a test, their brain fires faster. And in fact, the prefrontal cortex, I talked about that executive control, lights up like a Christmas tree. And so he's looking at the actual electricity in your brain. And we were talking about all the chemistry, but that chemistry is what, right? Electrochemical, it makes that fire faster. So people who exercise actually right before a task think clearer, think faster, and make better decisions. Pretty powerful, huh? And that's an immediate effect. Pretty cool. And guess what else he discovered? It didn't matter if you were 20, 15, or 70. So it works the same across the board. So age is not an excuse. Okay? Very powerful information. So what does that mean to you? Has that impacted you somehow today? Is this a different way of thinking about how our bodies work and function? I hope you take that message. We're holistic. We're whole. Meaning that anything we do has an effect on every part. So take the time to exercise. If you're not going to do it for your heart, do it for your brain. Because I don't know about you, I don't want to age and lose that capacity to interact with my world. You got a question? Yes, it's better. It's much better. That's good. Yeah, they're actually filming this. Yes. Yeah, we actually do. We do. We actually, it's a great, two really, really good questions. Again, and what we used to do, we spent a lot of time working with